Hello, good evening. It's News 360 coming to you live from the News Hub here at Adesawe Kanda. I am Portia Gabo.
And I am Martin Esiedudate. Headlines for this evening.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint
and Napa Foods, Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil.
Tonight, government opens invitation for a debt exchange program of US dollar-denominated domestic bonds.
Speaker Alban Bagbin sued for contempt of court for allowing Parliament to proceed with anti-LGBTQ plus bill despite pending legal action.
Also in the bulletin, Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice SHRAJ to appeal High Court ruling quashing its adverse findings on former Public Procurement Authority boss Ejenin Boate.
The Commission's lawyers are waiting for the written judgment in order to study it and take the necessary action.
In business news, an international economist says a strong recovery of Ghana's fiscal economy is tied to government adherence to fiscal discipline.
On the international front, Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu declares state of emergency on food security to address ongoing food inflation.
We have details of these stories and many more coming up shortly. Do stay with us.
We're starting from developments about the Ghanaian economy because the Finance Ministry has issued a statement, and basically they're saying that government has opened an invitation for a debt exchange program of US dollar-denominated domestic bonds. Government, through the Finance Ministry, is seeking to restructure some $809 million US dollars of domestic notes and bonds in a move which is expected to restore sound public finance and sustainable debt levels. The debt exchange, according to a statement from the Finance Ministry, is only for eligible bonds and does not include any cedi-denominated securities. The latest debt exchange program is expected to expire at 4 p.m. on August 4, with government seeking to extend the maturity periods of the bonds from November of this year to July 2027 and July 2028. Government is offering 2.75% interest of 2027 maturity date and 3.25% for its 2028 maturity dates. All right, so what does this really mean? And going forward, are we also likely to experience what we saw when government initiated the domestic debt exchange program for the cedi-denominated bonds? Let's speak to Dr. Kofi Orleans Lindsay, who is an economist and a lawyer. Doc, a very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us on News 360.
Good evening. I hope all is well with you as well.
Very well, thank you. To start with, what are your initial thoughts on government's decision to undertake a DDEP for dollar-denominated bonds?
I don't think the government, given where it's coming from, has any choice because they needed to reduce the debt load that is currently outstanding. Now, of course, the government hasn't got any choice, but those people who are required to exchange have a choice. They can choose to do so. They can choose to exchange it or not. So that's the issue.
The challenge that many had when the first domestic debt exchange program was initiated by government was that the communication between government and the bondholders was not professionally done or executed. With this and the fact that government has already given a date, it is looking to commence it. Are you confident that the government may have corrected the wrongs it undertook in the first DDEP?
Yes, I think really the discussions on how, what to do about it have not really been that effective. The question one asks, now you're asking us to actually exchange our debts for new contracts or new bonds that are out there. Now, what's the implication? Normally, if this was to be done in an open exchange, when interest rates fall, in that sense, then the value of the bonds that are currently outstanding, since they would have had higher coupon rates, the values will go higher than what it is. But at this time, what is being said is that they are going to be paid in the same principles which was expected, but the interest which would have been paid, the coupon rate, is now being reduced, which means that really, this is not an open market transaction, and it's actually relying on people's desire, perhaps to help the government to exchange this. But it is not something that in a truly market type of system, that would have held, because, the only way that would have happened is that those wanting to buy it would have had to buy it at a higher price, and then those people would have the option to sell. That is not what has happened now. So now the question is, what about those who choose not to exchange the eligible bonds? What happens?
Well, my final question to you on that stems from where you landed, having to do with the fact that government is offering 2.75% interest on the 2027 maturity date and then 3.25 for the 2028 maturity date. Is this a good offer? I mean, for those who deal in the bonds, dollar bonds, is this offer all right?
Well, I don't think it is a good offer. I mean, I can understand that if, say, for instance, your bond was expected to pay you, let's say, for instance, 6%, and now you're offering me 2% now, of course, it's not a good offer. Now, normally, the only reason that would have actually happened is that those people wanted to hold it for a particular term. Because, if, say, for instance, I have a bond and it's supposed to go for 5 years, and then somehow I have, a financial problem myself, and I want to dispose of my, the bond, then I could do it. That's like, I'm being forced because of my conditions to do it. Right. Now, the government is coming around and saying, no, exchange it with me. But I can choose not to exchange it. If I don't exchange it, what happens to, the contract that we have? Would you pay me the old interest rate that was on the coupon rate that has not been exchanged? Those are questions that needs to be discussed. That discussion hasn't taken place. I suspect the government will want everybody to come in through, because in there it says that anybody who's going to exchange any part of this eligible bond warrants that it's all the bonds that they're holding that they're going to exchange. Right? So it means that it is not something that those who want to exchange have a choice. Yeah. If once you go for a small part of it, you've got to go for all of it.
Okay. Doctor, thank you so much for your time, as always. Dr. Kofi Orlings Lindsay is an economist and a lawyer as well.
Let's now go to Parliament, where the anti-LGBTQ+ bill has travelled a long, winding path. The latest is the citing of the Speaker, Alban Bagbin, for contempt over the controversial bill. Noel Crosby Annan has been studying the civil motion.
The Supreme Court is being asked to impose sanctions on the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, for allowing the House to proceed with the anti-LGBTQ+ bill despite pending legal actions. Researcher Dr. Mando Doy, the plaintiff, contends that the Speaker, who is the first defendant, has treated the court processes with disdain and contempt. Dr. Doy says the respondent has continually violated and shown utter disregard for the 1992 Constitution and the court processes, adding that the respondent's clear, intentional and continuous disregard of the court processes necessitates the respondent being sanctioned for contempt in the public interest and to protect the dignity of the court. She contends her checks show that the Speaker has been served with all relevant court processes, including one asking the court to place an injunction on Parliament's consideration of the law. She said despite this, the Speaker caused the bill to proceed to its second reading in Parliament. Dr. Doy is one of two citizens who have sued the Speaker of Parliament and the Attorney General over the anti-LGBTQ+ bill. In May 2023, a private citizen, Paul Boama Sefa, dragged the Speaker of Parliament and the Attorney General to the High Court. He alleged the two have breached portions of Ghana's constitution regarding how the legislative body handled the Human Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill. He says despite the law having financial implications for the Consolidated Fund, it was not handed to Parliament with a fiscal impact analysis document. Well, in this contempt suit, the applicant, Dr. Amanda Odoi, holds that if the court does not intervene to grant this application of an interlocutory injunction, the breaches by the first respondent will promote a situation where the Constitution is permitted to be breached with impunity.
Let's speak to Dr. Rashid Draman. He is Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. Thank you so much for your time, Doc. First of all, did the Speaker err in supervising the passage of the anti-LGBTQ+ bill when he was well aware there were pending suits against the passage?
Well, I don't know whether I can make a pronouncement in terms of whether the Speaker erred or not. What I can say is that I thought that in this country, as in many other countries, we have what is called separation of powers and lack of interference in the work of one arm of government by another, particularly when processes are going on. You know, Portia, I'm not a lawyer, but I watch Parliament very carefully. And I know that sometimes when matters are before the court, sometimes Parliament doesn't want to make any pronouncements by just saying, look, let's wait for the court processes to complete. Yet, when matters are before Parliament, like this bill has been before Parliament for a very long time, you know, then we get the court, venturing into the terrain of Parliament and trying to tell Parliament, you know, do your work or don't do your work. And then also, in the last couple of months, I think we've seen instances where, you know, the court has told Parliament, you know, giving instructions to Parliament, including the recent one in the case of the Honourable Member for Asin North, when the court said, expunge the name of the member from all the records of Parliament. And the Speaker said, I am at a loss. I don't know what to do. And he referred the matter to the House. We saw the case of Abdullahi versus the Attorney General, where, you know, somebody ran to court. And then now it is established that when somebody is presiding, that's the first and second deputy speakers, they can still have a vote. So for me, I'm looking at this more kind of from the perspective of separation of powers and getting worried that, you know, we are seeing other branches of government, venturing into the space of Parliament and telling Parliament what to do and what not to do. Portia, can you imagine we wake up one day, there is some bill in Parliament, someone doesn't like the bill, then they run to the courts. Where are we going to put a stop to this?
Yeah.
So for me, I think the independence of Parliament is important in our democracy because we are called a democratic country because we have the 275 members elected. All other branches of government, we didn't elect anybody apart from the president, you know. So I think the sanctity of the legislature, of the institution of Parliament must be respected. And so I think in this regard, my proposal is that I think it's about time the Right Honourable Speaker and the Chief Justice sat together, you know, to iron out, these, what is becoming a kind of disturbing situation. A few weeks ago, we were discussing on one of your platforms this whole issue about, you know, why the NDC is boycotting Parliament and going to the court. And, you know, the views that were coming out were that even some MPs are not sure that we have a fair judicial process in this country. And I was saying, look, the only body that is mandated in this country that has a voice to represent all of us if there are concerns is Parliament. And if there are issues about that, somebody in my village will not have the opportunity, you know, to make pronouncements on this or to seek redress. Parliament is a body. If there are issues about the judiciary and the relationship between Parliament and the judiciary and so on, let them get together and let them deal with it because that is what we elected them to do in this country.
Doc, thank you so much for this explanation. And Dr. Rashid Rahman is the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. Martin.
Right, on to some other stories. Now, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, CHRAJ, has given a hint to appeal Thursday, July 13th's ruling on the former Chief Executive Officer of Public Procurement Authority, Jenim Boateng Adjei. Conflict of interest case is why the commissioner is saying that they are looking to appeal, and he tells TV3 that the commissioner's lawyers are waiting for the judgment, after which they will proceed to the courts to appeal.
Are waiting for the written judgment in order to study it and take the necessary action. I have not had the judgment itself. Our lawyers are waiting for the judgment. On the basis of when we study the judgment, the possibility of appealing to the Court of Appeal is very high.
All right, let's engage the thoughts of private legal practitioner on this subject, Martin Kpebu, who has joined us via Zoom. Mr. Kpebu, a very good evening to you. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, good evening, Martin.
Right, I'm sure this is a subject matter or a case that you've been following. First of all, what are your general thoughts on it?
Well, you know, the decision has upset the procedure that CHRAJ uses in investigating and carrying out its mandate. Yes. So, I mean, to that extent, this is a very big decision. I mean, to have totally rocked the procedure from the bottom. That specifically, the decision says that CHRAJ should have given the ABAJ and its lawyers the opportunity to cross-examine the persons who have made the allegations and all that. So that, to that extent, you see that this is more or less almost revolutionary. But we will know whether it is truly revolutionary when the case travels through the system up to the Supreme Court. Because certainly, because it seeks to, you know, totally, to a large extent, undo the way CHRAJ does its work. This is a case that has to go to the Court of Appeal, and then from Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court, so that the highest court of the land will have the final say on the matter. Yeah.
And still on the subject, the court said that CHRAJ, for instance, failed to play its investigative role, or as a body that has the mandate or the power to investigate. Rather, it was serving as a complainant, stating that ABAJ failed to declare his assets. Is that a position you also share?
But you see, the thing is that from the way CHRAJ is set up, and you remember the Anani case, the Supreme Court mentioned that, or not just mentioned, decided that when it comes to abuse of office, you no longer need a complainant, right? So CHRAJ can act based upon what others have said, or media reports, etc. So for me, you know, naturally we want to protect the public purse. So what CHRAJ did is something I favored. But now a judge is investigated it and thinks it shouldn't have been that way. You know, we live in a country of laws. So the best thing is that there are still two opportunities for CHRAJ to also appeal. Go to the Court of Appeal. If it still doesn't work, go to the Supreme Court. Let the highest court of the land look at it. Yes.
Right.
That's the way I see it.
Okay, I mean, and this for purposes of legal education. From what you said, the other concern that came up was whether or not the commission, that is CHRAJ, its rulings or its activities can be compared to that of a court hearing. You think CHRAJ, or the statute that sets up CHRAJ, does it have that kind of mandate or power to sit as a court?
Excellent. So, yes, that's the argument that we've made, that right to cross-examination. So right now, the argument being made is that if we are asking for cross-examination, then CHRAJ is being made to look like a court, properly so-called. But CHRAJ is not a court properly so-called. So it is not bound to do cross-examination, right? So that's the heart of the matter. So naturally, anti-corruption crusaders, etc., will say that no, Shraj is not a court properly so called, so there will be no right to cross-examination. But the judge has investigated this matter. When a case goes to court, we also call it's a form of investigation when a judge goes into the matter. So the judge, having looked at it, is saying that no, she thinks there should be a right to cross-examination. So this is the matter that will be tested on appeal. Because look, Martin, by all means, Shraj has to appeal this matter. Because as I've said, this decision kind of would change the manner in which Shraj does his work if it is not appealed, because then it means that the next time Shraj investigates a case and doesn't give the right to cross-examination, the person who is affected will go to court. So the best thing is that Shraj has to appeal this case to the Court of Appeal, and from Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court. Then we'll know what the Apex Court has to say about it.
Counsel, thank you so much for your thoughts and education as always. You had Martin Kpebu, who is a private legal practitioner.
Let's now go to the court where the Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tuah has accused lawyers of Gyakye Quayson of resorting to delaying tactics to slow down his criminal trial. This was after the lead counsel for the Assin North MP told an Accra High Court they have filed an application at the Supreme Court to quash the ruling of the court regarding the daily hearing of the trial. Lord Iduasare has more.
Lawyers of Assin North MP James Gyakye Quayson have filed a motion invoking the supervisory jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to quash the decision of the High Court made on June 16 regarding the daily hearings. Now, lawyer Chachi Chikata also noted that they have filed for an order restraining the High Court from proceeding with the trial until all documents they have applied for from the Attorney General's office have been provided in the trial. This is in addition to their pending appeal at the Court of Appeal, which is set to be determined on Wednesday, July 19.
But Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame disagreed, adding it was not enough to put a trial on hold simply because of an application at the Supreme Court when no such order has been given. Presiding Judge Mary Yanzu set Tuesday, July 18 to determine the application by counsel for Gyakye Quayson. Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tuah noted that his office is ready for any tactic deployed by the Assin North MP.
There's an attempt to delay proceedings through the legal process, which we will say fine, it's within their right to use the legal process to fight their cause. But that doesn't mean that when they file such applications, the court must wait for them for this application to be moved at the appellate court or at the Supreme Court. So we are concerned about that. But we are ready. If I told you last week, we come to court to speak law. This morning, we have spoken law in court. Tuesday, we will know what the judge will say, whether the judge will agree with us or disagree with us.
The National Democratic Congress Head of Legal Affairs, Abraham Amaleba, responded to the AG.
It is mind-boggling that the Attorney General should be speaking that way. This same Attorney General, in a different matter, ex-party Kenya Japan, indicated to the court, and that was at the Supreme Court, that because disclosures were not fully made, clearly it was wrong for the court law to proceed. And in that case, Justice Yoni Kolende actually said that the refusal of the court to stay but to proceed is a clear indication of bias against the accused person. So he cannot approbate and reprobate. That is not the work of an Attorney General.
In court also were some minority members of parliament as well as MPP MPs, including Adansi Asokwa MP and Trades Minister Katie Hammond, who has recently been sued for contempt by Gyakye Quayson's lawyers.
The prosecution's witness will be cross-examined in the next hearing. Lord Iduasare, TV3 News, Accra High Court.
Let's now take you to the Kasena-Nankana West District in the Upper East region, where residents of 8 communities have been cut off following the destruction of a major bridge. According to the residents, an alternative route, poorly constructed, has resulted in multiple loss of lives. Our correspondent Christopher Mwako reports.
The bridge was constructed in the early 1990s by late former President Jerry John Rawlings to link some 8 communities in the district, as well as other parts of neighboring Burkina Faso. Since then, the bridge has not seen any major maintenance. In March last year, the bridge collapsed, making it dangerous and impossible for commuters to access other parts of the district. A temporary but dangerous alternative diversion was created by the residents to allow them cross with their farm produce to Paga, Navrongo, and Bolga markets.
The losses I cannot count. We lost about 5 human beings through this bridge, 3 Ghanaians, and for the loss of productive hours when it comes to workers, you may not be able to measure. Because
It has really affected us. We live and work here. When it rains, we are unable to go to our farms or travel at night.
Whenever it rains, we are unable to cross unless the young men in the community help us with our wares.
Just last 2 weeks, I went to the assembly to inquire, now that the rains have started, what is actually going to happen. What I was told is no lack of resources, and that is why we are still at where we are.
So it appears the sufferings of people living in this enclave is not ending anytime soon. Christopher Marco, TV3 News, Paga.
In more news tonight, Epiroc Equipment Ghana, a subsidiary of Epiroc Group, has marked its 30th anniversary with the unveiling of their new Accra office. The company pledged to transition from fossil fuels to boost the country's mining industry.
Epiroc Equipment Ghana provide innovative and safe equipment such as drill rigs, rock excavation and construction equipment and tools for surface and underground applications. They also offer world-class service and solution for digitalization in the mining sector.
Epiroc is one of our industrial leaders in supplying machines and solutions for the mining and construction industry. So we both manufacture machines, but the new trend is also that we need to add value to our customers. So today we also supply a lot of infrastructure and software solutions for the mining and construction industry.
As they mark the milestone, Epiroc Equipment Ghana is committed to adopting sustainable mining practices.
Going forward, what we see right now is quite a drastic transition for the mining industry. And it's linked to 2 parts. One of them is the global demand of a more sustainable mining industry. It's a huge demand to lower the global carbon monoxide footprint.
At the anniversary reception, the Accra office was officially opened to the general public.
Now, GPAC, a subsidiary of Graphic Communications Group, as part of its 50th anniversary launch, has unveiled the Pantera Capacity, which can print about 15,000 books an hour. The machine, together with other investments, are part of measures towards quality delivery.
The Pantera machine, capable of handling books, magazines and catalogs, runs up to 4,000 cycles per hour. It uses a hot melt binding process and detects non-standard printed materials, ensuring efficient and reliable binding. GPAC continues to invest in technology to improve efficiency.
Technology is not taking jobs away. We are using it to complement. We are trying to phase all the old technologies away. The newer ones, we are going to make sure we train our people, take more people from the various vocational and technical, because they are major feed, human resource for our industry, and we are going to create opportunities for them.
Acting General Manager of GPAC, Kingsley Matekole, gave a hint on plans to merge the print with digital service.
To be an interface between the print and then the digital world. So now we are introducing QR codes into our system so that you can scan them. We are making our printing efficient in such a way that we'll print smaller items. There will still be the need for print. It will be in smaller quantities, But so we need to make space for those who want to print smaller so that they can scan their materials. So if you go for a wedding like this, you see that we'll print few brochures, but we'll provide a QR code that when you scan, we can host and then make money from hosting that particular activity.
Since its establishment in 1973, GPAC has been actively involved in the commercial printing industry with the aim of meeting the demand for high-quality printing services.
We have business news coming up shortly. Do stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
You dey sleep? That's Madina.
Sentuntum say wunna ma deju me ma wonsa.
Efrema be ma dani oba.
Ma wonsa. Sentuntum ma boasu da ma wonsa.
That shall not slap. Having black mosquito quail. Pamon tontom na empom wisie bebre na ema wo mowa na ema wo nhwam na ehwam.
Having insecticide spray hwam na sanso kum a wotu ene omo wia nyina. Now having naphthalene balls and having perfumed insect repellent no ekumwa warrior nothing just here with
having black mosquito quail empom wisie bebre and say wo hwene so ehwam kama no emubu na jumo size no boduma don't shred do me no
and a heaven spray having naphthalene balls ni perfumed insect repellent no ekumwa omutu na wa wonam from nothing just here with
heaven dear bakope heaven dear
Heaven dear,
FDA aji edrede krato yatum.
You are your own person, unique, one of a kind, special. That's why you deserve everything tailored to suit your particular taste, your preference, your needs. Just like MTN Just For You. You can get customized offers tailored to who you are. Dial *141# or use the MyMTN app to get to choose from a variety of offers made just for you.
Are you tired of struggling with bad financial situations? At Quick Credit, we understand the difficulties that come with transitioning to a better one. That's why we're here to simplify the process for you. With loan facilities from 1,500 cedis upwards, all you have to do is call and we will take care of the rest. All you need is your national ID. No savings, no collateral, no susu, no deposits, and no account opening required. Quick Credit has you covered. Whether you're expanding a business, starting a new one, facing an emergency like school fees or funeral expenses, or even just in need of a salary loan. What are you waiting for? Call Quick Credit today. 0302 200 390 or 059 692 0833. We do not give loans via the internet. Quick Credit is regulated and licensed by the Bank of Ghana. Terms and conditions apply. Quick Credit. Lending made simple.
Whenever you fly to space or take your first step as baby, SoftCare always stays with you.
New SoftCare Space Series is rooted from space technology. Keeps you dry and comfortable for 12 hours long. offers you the most effective protection during your space journey.
SoftCare. Protect your leap.
Segment is brought to you by MTN, Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
Welcome back to News 360. Time now for business, and Mr. Ogbodu is with us. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Martin. Straight into it now, as a strong recovery of Ghana's fiscal economy can only be realized if government adheres to policy measures outlined by the International Monetary Fund under the bailout program. That's according to economist Dr. Saad Idrisu of the Louisiana Economic Development in the USA. He was reacting to Fitch Solutions' projection on Ghana's fiscal outlook. The following report has more.
According to Fitch Solutions' mid-year review of Sub-Saharan Africa, Ghana's fiscal economy is expected to recover significantly this year, as the budget deficit would narrow substantially to 5.7% of gross domestic product. This is down from an estimated 8.3% in 2022-2023 fiscal year. But speaking to 3 Business, economist Dr. Saad Idrisu says this can only be achieved if government ensures fiscal discipline.
All the policies that are outlined there, government will have to focus on those policies, because if government is not committed to those policies, then we wouldn't be able to achieve this fixed rating, this new rating, or this new projection of 5.7% budget deficit. And in all of that, I would say that the biggest thing government should focus on is fiscal discipline.
Dr. Idrisu also admonished government to set up the much anticipated Financial Stability Fund to promote business growth.
Up to date, the fund hasn't been set up, which is still a worry, because you need the financial sector to be able to boost up business growth in your economy so that you'll be able to achieve the full macroeconomic recovery that you are aiming at. And if that is not done, then there's going to be a setback in achieving this new targets that is being mentioned by Fitch.
You may have been paying more than double or triple the price of some commonly used household items, including fresh tomatoes and garden eggs. That's because for June 2023, some commonly used items have featured in the top 20 items with the highest inflation rates, some above 100%. Menu Afol has been tracking the price changes and has come through with the following report.
A month ago, 5 was like 10 cedis. Garden eggs, 5, 10 cedis.
Inflation rate for June 2023 went up to 42.5%, according to the Ghana Statistical Service. Now I'm going to walk you through the top 20 items with the highest rates of inflation. So you'd find items which are very common in every individual's basket. Shelled granite leads the chart with a rate of 125.7%, followed by tea bags, dog meat, palm oil, and we could go on. Now pay attention to this. Most of these items, granite, palm oil, sunflower cooking oil, and others, have been featuring in the top listed items with the highest inflation rate for months. But for June, we've seen some new items on the list. Garden eggs saw a year-on-year inflation of 81.2%, placing it at number 9. And fresh tomatoes also made it to the top 20. It is the 18th listed item with an inflation rate of 71.8%. Well, let's engage the traders and find out how they are coping with the inflation levels.
It's too expensive, but I know how to do the customer. The customer will not leave me and go.
I must say it was expensive because people were complaining. They couldn't buy a lot because the big cap is expensive.
We were incurring losses all the time.
Customers complain bitterly about the prices, but they still buy.
Note that food inflation appeared to be the main driver of inflation for the month, indicating that prices of food items went up more than other items that were considered in the inflation basket.
At the start of every production season, we need to know what quantity and
size of land that is into production for food security, purposely for local consumption, and what other lands have been earmarked for production for export. That must be done, because if we don't do that, one day we'll wake up to realize that all our food has been exported out of the country, and we have to pay more to consume the little that are left.
So, depending on how often you use these items, your level of inflation could be much higher than the national average of 42.5%. Menu Afol, 3 Business, Malamata Market, Accra.
Now, the Ghana Stock Exchange has moved to improve knowledge in financial literacy among senior high schools and tertiary institutions. The exchange organized a youth investment program to ensure every Ghanaian becomes financially literate from the young stage. Head of Marketing and PR at the exchange, Jerry Boache Dankwa, says his outfit plans to reach out to more than 5,000 students this year with knowledge in financial literacy, basic savings and investments.
We are looking at reaching out to over 10,000 students with our program. And we are very excited that so far it's been good. The momentum is building, the excitement is building. The ultimate aim of this financial literacy program, being organized by the Ghana Stock Exchange, CSD and Young Investor Network, is to ensure that every Ghanaian becomes financially literate. Until every Ghanaian becomes financially literate, we will not stop this program. Because we believe that when people become financially literate, they will make informed decisions and they will make sure they make the right decisions with regards to their money. It's so hard to make money, but people find it difficult to get the needed advice and the needed skills to manage money.
Promasidor Ghana has unveiled 2 new products of its Cowbell brand. Cowbell Premium and Cowbell Vita-Rich are filled with the right proportions of nutrients required for body growth and vitalization.
The all-new Cowbell Premium and Vita-Rich products contain great taste of creamy goodness and come in 14, 26 and 400 gram sachet packs, as well as 400 grams in tin pack size.
As a brand, the essence of Cowbell is to deliver value to the consumer. We know that the premium Cowbell will not meet everybody's pockets, so we had to deliver affordable nutrition through Vita-Rich to the mass public to ensure that quality food is a basic human right, and economic circumstances should not lead to malnutrition issues. And we're just being sensitive to the feedback we get from our consumers to address this challenge.
The Cowbell brand is also committed to investing in community support initiatives that enhance the benefit of the Ghanaian child.
We intend embarking on some community support initiatives which is going to run across the length and breadth of the country. We've already started the borehole project, which is still under the Cowbell brand. We also have nutrition assessment program, which is focused on the area of pediatric nutrition. We're looking at literacy programs too as well. Basically being able to be there for the Ghanaian communities, because we believe strongly they are the reason why we are here today.
The brand has meanwhile changed its payoff line from Cowbell, our milk, to Cowbell, our creamy goodness.
Cowbell Vita-Rich.
That will be all for business here on News 360. For more business stories, please visit our website 3news.com. My name is Michael Obodu. Thank you for watching. As always, please stay safe. Up next is sports.
You are your own person, unique, one of a kind, special. That's why you deserve everything tailored to suit your particular taste, your preference, your needs. Just like MTN Just For You. You can get customized offers tailored to who you are. Dial *141# or use the MyMTN app to get to choose from a variety of offers made just for you.
Pepsodent introduces charcoal and lemon essence. The unique combination of natural essences whitens teeth naturally for you and family, because every smile matters.
New Pepsodent Herbal. Introducing a unique combination of herbal extracts in an antibacterial toothpaste for strong teeth and healthy gums that protects your family and you. Every smile matters.
That's wonderful! And that is what champions do! It feels good to football with GoTV. Works space well and scores a brilliant. Nobody but GoTV gives you all games of La Liga and Serie A, the Premier League and UEFA games that matter, and the world's favorite cup competitions. Get GoTV Super for only 249 cedis to enjoy the football overload. GoTV, love it.
Extra work, I dare for you. Extra work deserves extra taste. Tasty dear. Plus, we've added extra crackers in each bag. Royal King Cracker. Take choke your hunger. This advert is FDA approved.
Many people think I get whatever I want because I'm a popular actress. But no, that is not true. Me Ankasano, Adebia mi yebiano, me shishimpe papano. And when I find it, I stick to it. My shishimenya Bell Pack tissues. Bell Pack ewe tea roll. Bell Pack tea roll. Soft, but not weak. Strong, but not hard. It is smooth. Me yusua, me hot tummy. It's just perfect. Same as the kitchen towel. What about what? What me the papaye? What me soaki? Echimu esa pepper. One Bell Pack kitchen towel lasts longer and saves you money. It's time you switch to Bell Pack today. Say your pocket tissue, table napkin, tea roll, and a kitchen towel. Bell Pack is simply the best. It's just perfect.
Nothing feels so good like Bell Pack.
Sports segment is brought to you by
Gentleman Cosmetic Range.
Bell Pack Tissues.
It's now time for the latest in the world of sports with Yao Ofosolabi. Yao, what do you have for us today?
There's news on Majida Shimeru and his exclusive interview with Ori Kwampofu will air tomorrow at 11 a.m. Sharp. And then some other transfer stories. I know you like that one, Martin. Let's move on now to our first story in sports this evening. And Black Stars midfielder Majida Shimeru revealed his disappointment after missing out on Ghana's final squad for the 2022 World Cup. But he also stated that he was happy to see Mohamed Kudus and others light up the stage in Qatar.
Yeah, that's the biggest competition in the world, and I think every player wants to. And I think for me personally, I felt...
It's live on TV3. It was read out by the jury.